large intestine takes the prana out of the food. Now, of course, from the practical point of view, suppose you were to have a large megalopolis, kind of like this one, in which the air quality was not very good, kind of like in this one. And that means that your lungs are going to be under stress all the time. And because your lungs are under stress all the time, there is always going to be the possibility for vata to go out of balance. Because if your lungs are always under stress, when your organism tries to take in prana, often what will happen is it will take in the life force, but your system can't maintain the integrity of the life force very well. So instead of causing your tissues to feel invigorated, it will often tend to cause you instead to have a large amount of nervous energy. So this is what vata basically is, nervous energy. And when there's a lot of vata in your system, you have a lot of nervous energy. And you'll always, the thing about prana is you want to store prana in your tissues. Storing prana in your tissues makes your tissues feel stable, makes your tissues feel well nourished, makes your tissues feel calm. When you have, instead of prana, when you have a lot of nervous energy, your tissues feel less calm, they feel less stable, and they feel less well nourished. So then there will be a nagging interest on the part of your organism to try to find better nourishment. And if you were paying close attention, you will realize that, aha, I need to find better nourishment by improving the input and the digestion of prana in my system. And if you were not thinking in those terms, if you were allowing the unconscious motivation to look for more nutrition to manifest itself in the normal way in which you might find things manifesting yourself, then you will simply go over to find a samosa. There's nothing wrong with samosas. I like samosas. But you need to understand that your organism, that's not precisely what it's looking for. The samosa has prana in it. This is why you can look at it and there's a recognition on your part that, there's prana, this very thing here. But that prana, of course, has to be digested before it can get into your system. And if you already have too much nervous energy in your system, then your digestive power is not going to be as great as it should be. And this means not only your physical digestion, but your mental digestion. And the more your mental digestion is disturbed, the easier it will be for you to be allured by things. Swastha means healthy, swasthya means health. Sushruta, Ayurveda's surgeon, so Sushruta said, sama dosha, sama agnischa, sama dhatu mala kriyaha, prasanna atma indriya manaha, swasthyam ityabhidhiyate. So Sushruta is defining what he means by swasthya, by being well established in yourself. So he said, samadosha, samagnischa, samadhatu malakriyaha, everything should be sama. As long as the processors are consistent, then all of the juices will flow consistently, and all of the digestive fires, all of the agnis will be properly functioning, and all of the vata, all of the vayu, all of the prana will be circulating consistently. And if that was all that was required for health, that would be convenient. That's not the way it works, because then there's the second line in that shloka, which is prasanna atma indriya manaha. So not only does your organism have to be in a state of homeostatic balance, of samatha, samya, your mind, your sense organs, your spirit, they all have to be prasanna. Prasanna means satisfied, gratified. So if your mind is not calm and satisfied and relaxed, then you're not going to be well established in yourself. Now, what do we find in the modern world? We find that lots of human beings are spending lots of time and effort to attract your attention. And to attract your attention away from yourself, or at least away from, well, not necessarily away from yourself. They may be attracting your attention to how much you weigh, and the fact that you're not as young as you used to be, and the fact that you're really quite unsatisfactory in so many ways, because they have things that are available that can make you more satisfactory. So the more that you allow your awareness to get dragged away by that, the more you're allured by those things, the further away you go from your being prasanna, the further you go away from prasannata. And therefore, you become less established in yourself, and therefore you become unwell. So, it is definitely important, and it is useful, usually desirable, to pay lots of attention to what you eat and how you exercise and all of these practical things. But it is possibly, especially today, even more important to be aware of the fact that unless you are paying attention to what you are paying attention to, your attention is going to be dragged away all the time without you even knowing what's going on. And the more your attention is dragged away, the more your prana will be dragged away, and the more you will feel like you will be able to sense, unconsciously or subconsciously, that your prana, to have a sensation inside your organism that you have sufficient life force, that you're not empty in some way. Because when you're allowing your prana to be sucked out by whatever it is you're being allured by, then you will feel subconsciously or unconsciously a lack of vitality in your system. And you will be very tempted to have that lack of vitality move you in the direction of looking for the samosa or the chavanaprash or the whatever it is that you are being told is the thing that will solve all of your problems and make you attractive and young and desirable and rich and happy. So, the first cause of all disease is allurement. Everybody is being allured all day long. So, the basic principle of Ayurvedic treatment is Sankshipataha Kriya Yogo Nidana Parivarjana. The essence of treatment is remove the cause. If this is the cause of your problem, you should remove it. Wait, you will say, I need this because of so many reasons. And this is true. But that does not mean that you should have it on all the time. It does not mean you should do like some young people do and sleep with it under your pillow so you can not miss anything. A friend of mine was up in He was up in Uttarakhand somewhere. Let's say Rishikesh, I don't remember. It might have been further up, might have been Uttarkashi even. And he met a sadhu, and the sadhu looked very agitated. And my friend said, "Why are you agitated?" And he said, "My phone is not working, so I can't check Facebook every 15 minutes. Maybe he didn't say every 15 minutes, but apparently he was very agitated. Now, this is wrong in so many ways, in my opinion. First of all, as a sadhu, you're supposed to be dead to the world. You're not supposed to be concerned with what all your other sadhu friends are doing on Facebook. Now, I grant you that Facebook is a very important social media site, and it is used apparently by 1.4 billion people. 20%, 1 out of every 5 humans on the planet are on Facebook. This in itself is a disturbing thing. Just because this one platform has dragged, never before has this, occasionally, you know, okay, the World Cup final, maybe you get a couple of billion people watching it, maybe 3. But that's just for a couple of hours. This is on an ongoing basis. We now have 20% of the world networked together in one, just in this one forum. This is very peculiar and unusual. We're experimenting as a race, as a species, with a number of things that we have no clue about, and we're just proceeding ahead at an extremely and rapidly increasing pace. Ayurveda is a medical system that focuses on guna, and the basic principle of Ayurveda is remove the cause of the problem. Sometimes the cause is a specific thing, but sometimes the cause is a specific quality instead of a specific substance or action, because qualities exist in substances and actions. So when we know that the modern world is moving along not only fast, but faster and faster, that not only is it moving fast, but it's accelerating, we know that an important way to deal with things that are moving too fast is to slow down. Now, you will say to me, "Oh, but I'm living in the modern megalopolis, and I have to go to work, and I have to come back, and then there's the family, and these are all absolutely true things. And you have to do whatever it is you have to do. However, even if you have to do a lot of things, and you have to get them all done during the day, there will be a big difference whether you have the attitude of having to, that you're always behind and you have to go faster and faster, or the attitude of, I'm going to be very calm and efficient, and I'm going to do what needs to be done, and I'm going to focus on keeping my prana well centered. If you are, as my mentor was always fond of saying, if you're walking on the road, it's good to remember that the road does not get tired. You will get tired. The road, on the other hand, is not going to get tired. This is very important. If let's say that you're going to be running a marathon or even walking for 10 or 15 kilometers, you have to be able to pace yourself. This is what people don't do. They don't pace themselves nowadays. They live their lives as if they were in traffic, accelerating up to the point where you have to stop and put on the brakes, instead of trying to drive as consistently as possible. We should all be trying to live as consistently as possible, because start and stop driving wears out your car, and start and stop living wears out your body. So the very practical, yes, Ayurveda is all about vanaspatis and minerals and things like that, but more important it is that if the cause of your problem is that life is too fast, then you need to find ways to slow down. If the cause of your problem is that you're spending too much time on your devices, then you need to have a, just out of curiosity, do we have a Hindi word for device? Upakarana. So, you should have the Upakarana Upavasa. It even sounds good. But if you're going to do upavasa, I mean, people are doing upavasa all during this Navaratri in different ways. Maybe they're skipping their lunch, or maybe they're only eating. Upavasa is very popular, and it's also a good thing to do because it allows your, just from the ordinary langana, the real word for fasting is langana, which comes from the word lagu. And lagu, of course, means it's opposite of guru. Guru means heavy, lagu means light. So the purpose of langana is to create more lightness, more of the quality of lightness, less of the quality of heaviness in the body, because the digestive fire is light. So what happens is the digestive fire, 1 samosa, tasty. 2 samosas, half a dozen samosas, this is heavy. The digestive fire may be able to eat 1. It may have to work harder to eat 2. The digestive fire will be buried under 6. So, whatever it is that you are doing from the perspective of your diet in, let's say, 6 days out of the week, it's nice to have some restriction on the 7th day, whatever that 7th day is, so that your body gets a chance to do essential maintenance, to get rid of some of the toxins that have accumulated, to take a rest from having to digest all the time. And that applies to these upakaranas also. You have to have some time to regain perspective, to remember what it's like. And after all, how long have we had these things? A very short period of time. I can remember, because I'm so aged now, when the telephone was actually connected to the wall. And there was a cord. And you actually had to, and you couldn't wander around with it. I also remember what it was like here 40 years ago when you wanted to make a trunk call I remember being in Bombay and waiting for a trunk call to Hyderabad, and people would sit by the phone. And if you needed to get up to pee, you would call somebody else, sit by the phone. Because if you missed it, it would be another day and a half before you could get through to it again. Now everything has completely changed. Now a million new mobile phone connections a month in India, and that's been going on for several years. So it's completely different now, but it's only been a few years that we're doing this. And we do know that there is some evidence to suggest that holding your phone next to your head is a really bad idea from the point of view of whether you want a brain tumor or not. I go with the not. As I just had a friend who died from one 3 months ago, that may have been influenced by that. So, here is a practical thing. No, it is not written in the textbooks, but it's still a very practical thing, which is always use a hands-free device on your phone, especially if you're driving, but at all times. This is a practical thing. It is a simple thing. It may not be as convenient from your current perspective, but your body will appreciate it. Staying away, turning your device off for a day. Or putting yourself in a place where there is no electricity, for example, for a while. Then you will still be able to Life will still go on, just as there was when there was no electricity. Life will go on when there were no upakaranas. And you will get a little of that perspective back, and perspective is a very useful thing. So, life is very fast. Find ways to slow down. One important way to slow down is make sure that sometime during the day, preferably in the morning, because you want to educate your organism into how you want it to behave during the day. You want to set a pattern that hopefully will, if not last during the day, at least that will get you started off well. And that pattern should involve not getting up and drinking 3 cups of chai and jumping onto your vehicle, onto, or under, or whatever, and immediately going out and dealing with the world. It preferably, if at all possible, early in the morning, involves you getting up, being calm, at least for a minute or two, and then meditating for however long you can, doing a little bit of yoga for however long you can, whatever time is available, and whenever the kids get, or the mother-in-law or whoever, whatever time they're getting up, make sure you're getting up before them.